Hello and welcome back to another episode of God-Free Bible Study. Today we are getting deeper into Numbers, the fourth book of the Bible, and we are starting off with Numbers 9. So let's get right into it. This is the Passover at Sinai. The Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt, saying, "Let the Israelites keep the Passover at its appointed time." I want to point this out before we read more. The Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt. They're still wandering through the damn desert. Why? Who knows? I mean, in 2 years, you could have marched to Europe at this point. But no, they're still wandering in the desert because God. That's why. Because Yahweh. Sure. Makes total sense. Let the Israelites keep the Passover at its appointed time. On the 14th day of this month at twilight, you shall keep it at its appointed time. According to all its statutes and all its regulations, you shall keep it. So Moses told the Israelites that they should keep the Passover. They kept the Passover in the first month on the 14th day of the month at twilight in the wilderness of Sinai, just as the Lord had commanded Moses, so the Israelites did. Now there were certain people who were unclean through touching a corpse. The corpse thing again. Okay. So that they could not keep the Passover on that day. They came before Moses and Aaron on that day and said to him, "Although we are unclean through touching a corpse, why must we be kept from presenting the Lord's offering at its appointed time amongst the Israelites?" Moses said to them, "Wait, so that I may hear what the Lord will command concerning you." Notice, 2 years in, still wandering around the damn desert. What's the primary thing on God's agenda today? Making sure that you keep the Passover. Yeah, that's important. Forget getting out of the damn desert or finding, some more permanent means of lodging or whatever. No, we got to make sure that you're keeping my ceremonies properly. Okay. Sure. And, if I'm an ancient Hebrew at this point, I think when someone dies, I'm just going to leave the body wherever it is. Hey, I don't want to be unclean. I won't be able to keep the Passover. I won't be able, what would they do if you just started leaving the dead bodies wherever they were at? Well, we don't want to be unclean. God says we can't touch a corpse, that would really be the logical conclusion of this. Just let them fester where they're at. They'll get full of maggots and start stinking and everything. But, we don't want to be unclean. Can't do that because that would make God unhappy. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites, saying, any one of you or your descendants who is unclean through touching a corpse or is away on a journey shall still keep the Passover to the Lord. In the second month on the 14th day at twilight, they shall keep it. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it until morning, nor break a bone of it. According to all the statute for the Passover, they shall keep it. But anyone who is clean and is not on a journey and yet refrains from keeping the Passover shall be cut off from the people for not presenting the Lord's offerings at its appointed time. Such a one shall bear the consequences for the sin." Yes. Follow my rituals or get the hell out. That's what this boils down to. If you can't follow my ritual, then you are excommunicated. Loving God, loving God, loving God, loving God. Okay, yeah, loving God, loving God. Any alien residing among you who wishes to keep the Passover to the Lord shall do so according to the statute of the Passover and according to its regulation. You shall have one statute for both the resident alien and the native of the land. The cloud and the fire. On the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of the covenant, and from evening until morning it was over the tabernacle, having the appearance of fire. It was always so. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. Whenever the cloud lifted from over the tent, then the Israelites would set out, and in the place where the cloud settled down, there the Israelites would camp. At the command of the Lord, the Israelites would set out, and at the command of the Lord, they would camp. As long as the cloud rested over the tabernacle, they would remain in camp. Do they have a destination? This just truly feels like not just wandering, but wandering in a frustrating way. Like, well, what's the cloud over the tabernacle? Oh shit, we got to pack up camp and move 10 miles over there and then set up again and wait for the next time God tells us to move. Like, this feels so freaking pointless. Even when the cloud continued over the tabernacle many days, the Israelites would keep the charge of the Lord and would not set out. Sometimes the cloud would remain a few days over the tabernacle, and according to the command of the Lord, they would remain in camp. Then, according to the command of the Lord, they would set out. Sometimes the cloud would remain from evening until morning, and when the cloud lifted in the morning, they would set out. Or if it continued for a day and a night, when the cloud lifted, they would set out. Whether it was 2 days or a month or a longer time that the cloud continued over the tabernacle, resting upon it, the Israelites would remain in camp. It would not set out. But when it lifted, they would set out. At the command of the Lord, they would camp, and at the command of the Lord, they would set out. They kept the charge of the Lord at the command of the Lord by Moses. This is so freaking pointless. Remember, they are eating manna, which is God's food falling from the heavens, right? Manna from the heavens. So, in theory, they should be able to camp in one spot as long as they need to until they decide that, okay, now we're going to Canaan, or now we're going to whatever land that it is that we decided we are migrating to, or whatever land we're going to conquer, or what have you. But no, that's not good enough for Yahweh. Yahweh has to jerk us off as we sit here and say, no, now you're going to be here a day. Okay, now you're going to be here 5 days. Now you're going to be here a month. Now you're going to be in the next place 2 days, and just kind of moving around the desert randomly. Why? Who knows? Because Yahweh is jerking himself off. That's why. That's the only logical reason why you have to keep picking up at random intervals and moving 5, 10, 15 miles somewhere else and still making camp in the desert, in the wilderness, if you will. What's the point? I mean, if they were truly doing like the hunter-gatherer thing, I would understand. Because, okay, at a certain point, you've exhausted the resources of the land. And by the way, there's still under this fantasy that there's 1 million plus people. So if they were trying to do the hunter-gatherer thing, they would exhaust the resources of these places that they were in almost immediately, because there was not enough food and water in the area that they were supposedly living in to actually sustain them. So it's only by the food of God, manna, that they're actually even able to be alive in the first place. And if that's what's keeping you alive, you could stay alive if you stayed in this spot for a year, or if you move every day and go to a new spot. Either way, your food source is still the same. It's manna from heaven. Why do they have to get up and move every couple days, or randomly every day or 3 days or 5 days or month, depending upon whether God's got indigestion that day? I mean, it's so random and stupid. You can't even come up with a good excuse for this. Numbers 10. The silver trumpets. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, make 2 silver trumpets. You shall make them of hammered work, and you shall use them for summoning the congregation and for breaking camp. When both are blown, the whole congregation shall assemble before you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. But if only one is blown, Then the leaders, the heads of the tribes of Israel, shall assemble before you. When you blow an alarm, the camps on the east side shall set out. When you blow a second alarm, the camps on the south side shall set out. An alarm is to be blown whenever they are set out. But when the assembly is to be gathered, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. The sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow the trumpets. This shall be a perpetual institution for you throughout your generations. Which makes me wonder, like, Jewish temples, do they have horns that they might need to blow at some point? Like, because it says perpetual institution for you throughout your generations. If you're Jewish and want to put a comment, I'd love to hear, like, do they have horns in the temple, for some theoretical day? When you go to war in your land against the adversary who oppresses you, you shall sound an alarm with the trumpets, so that you may be remembered before the Lord your God and be saved from your enemies. I really want to know if the Israeli army blows, like if they have trumpeters that blow before they go to war. That may sound ridiculous, but I mean, consider that, in the American army, for the first 100 years or so of this country, you had people that played a drum, and played music as you went to war. It was a part of the troop. Now, it's not part of modern shit, but I wonder if, like, Israeli armed forces have someone who blows the trumpet. Like, maybe that's silly, but I really would want to know. I'm curious. So again, if you know about this, please put it in the comments. I'd love to get some input on that. Also, on your days of rejoicing at your appointed festivals and at the beginnings of your months, you shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over your sacrifices of well-being. They shall serve as a reminder on your behalf before the Lord your God. I am the Lord your God. And thus was the birth of jazz. Like, this is the blowing of the horns. Also, it's kind of weird. I literally did not notice this. Of course, I've pre-read this, but I did not notice this until this time reading it through, that it says, when you blow an alarm, the camps on the east side shall set out. When you blow a second alarm, the camps on the south side shall set out. That's two sides of the camp. What about the north and the west side? Are we supposed to imply that they were camped at the side of a mountain or something? So there's really only an east and a south side? Like, I don't know, but it literally gives you these explicit instructions about, okay, one blow is the east side is going to set out. The second blow is the south side is going to set out. But what about the north and the west side? They just get to, like, sit in their tents and watch Netflix or something? I don't know. Departure from Sinai. In the second year, in the second month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud lifted from over the tabernacle of the covenant. Then the Israelites set out by stages from the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud settled down in the wilderness of Paran. They set out for the first time at the command of the Lord by Moses. The standard of the camp of Judah set out first, company by company, and over the whole company was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. Over the company of the tribe of Issachar was Nathanael, son of Zuar, and over the company of the tribe of Zebulun was Eliab, son of Helon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonites and the Merarites who carried the tabernacle set out. Next, the standard of the camp of Reuben set out, accompanied by, oh my God, this is killing me. You're killing me, dude. Really? Okay, you're just going to tell me about how every one of them set out? I get it. You have all these tribes. Stop it. Yeah, then after all this, it says this was the order of march of the Israelites, company by company, when they set out. Who freaking cares? Who cares? Come on, man. Moses said to Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are setting out for the place of which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised good to Israel. But he said to him, I will not go, but I will go back to my own land and to my kindred. He said, do not leave us, for you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you will serve as eyes for us. Well, maybe if you didn't change camps at the whim of a cloud over your tabernacle, you wouldn't have to constantly know where to camp. Okay, sorry. Moreover, if you go with us, whatever good the Lord does for us, the same we will do for you. So they set out from the mount of the Lord 3 days' journey, with the ark of the covenant of the Lord going before them 3 days' journey, to seek out a resting place for them, the cloud of the Lord being over them by day when they set out from the camp. Whenever the ark set out, Moses would say, Arise, O Lord, let your enemies be scattered and your foes flee before you. And whenever it came to rest, he would say, Return, O Lord, to the 10,000 thousands of Israel. What? Return, O Lord, to the 10,000 thousands of Israel. 10,000 thousands is 10 million. Now, we've heard that there's 600,000 there, although that is apparently the men, which means that if we take that face value, there's well over 1 million people wandering around. But I've never heard anything that says 10,000 thousands. And yet here it says, Return, O Lord, to the 10,000 thousands of Israel. What? Sure. Okay. That makes total sense, doesn't it? Oh, wait. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Numbers 11, complaining in the desert. Now, when the people complained in the hearing of the Lord about their misfortunes, the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. Of course, because how dare you ever complain about anything? Our God is such a pissy little bitch of a God that he actually gets angry and pissed off that somebody out there is complaining. Think about that. Think about the internet right now. If you are the kind of person who's going to be pissed off because someone on the internet doesn't like you, or someone on the internet posted something that's not flattering or argues with a point about you, then guess what kind of person you're going to be? You're going to be an incel. You're going to be sitting at your keyboard all day, every day, like, no, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. In other words, if you are so petty as to care what every random opinion is from the internet, then you yourself are a loser. Yahweh is a loser. Because when the people in the camp, there's some people that are complaining and he can't stand it, he's pissed off. Yeah. Then the fire of the Lord burned against them and consumed some outlying parts of the camp. Let me say this again. Then the fire of the Lord burned against them and consumed some outlying parts of the camp. But the people cried out to Moses, and Moses prayed to the Lord, and the fire abated. So that place was called Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burned against him. Let me be absolutely clear about this. Some people had the audacity to actually complain about their situation, so God's answer was burn them to death. Yeah. Burn them to death. Because you had the audacity to open your mouth and actually complain without, you had the audacity to not sit there and just thankfully accept everything that's happening to you. That's disgusting. The camp followers with them had a strong craving, and the Israelites also wept again and said, if only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we used to eat in Egypt for nothing, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our strength is dried up, and there is nothing at all but this manna to look at. Which I do understand. I mean, granted, he's showering food on you every day, although that had to get pretty damn monotonous. Now the manna was like coriander seed, its color was like the color of gum resin. The people went around and gathered it, ground it in mills or beat it in mortars, then boiled it in pots and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was like the taste of cakes baked with oil. When the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna would fall with it. When the dew fell on the camp in the night. This is the inspired word of God. Does God actually believe that dew falls out of the sky onto the ground? Really? Does he believe that's where dew comes from, like rain? Like it falls from a cloud or something, like it just falls in the sky. Does God not know how dew works? Apparently not, because the inspired word of God says when the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna would fall with it. That makes no sense. And that can only be written by someone who doesn't understand how dew works. And if this is the inspired word of God, then Yahweh, your God, does not know how dew works. Praise him. Yeah. Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, all at the entrances of their tents. Then the Lord became very angry, and Moses was displeased. So Moses said to the Lord, "Why have you treated your servant so badly? Why have I not found favor in your sight that you lay the burden of all this people on me? Did I conceive all this people? Did I give birth to them that you should say to me, carry them in your bosom as a wet nurse carries a nursing child to the land that you promised on oath to their ancestors? Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they come weeping to me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I am not able to carry all this people alone, for they are too heavy for me. If this is the way you are going to treat me, put me to death at once. If I have found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my misery." I do like the fact that Moses is like, dude, what the hell? Don't put this on me. You can't expect me to take, to be responsible for all these people. And like, what do you want me to do? I'm a dude. I'm a man. What else can I do? So I do like the fact that Moses just kind of called out God on that. The 70 elders. So the Lord said to Moses, "Gather for me 70 of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and officers over them. Bring them to the tent of meeting and have them take their place there with you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take some of the spirit that is on you and put it on them, and they shall bear the burden of the people along with you, so that you will bear it all by yourself. I will take some of the spirit that is on you and put it on them." This makes the spirit sound like it's peanut butter. I'm just going to scrape a little off of you over here, and I'm going to spread it on the rest of these elders over there. Like, there you go. Yeah, have some spirit. Have some spirit. You got some spirit? Okay. Yeah. I guess the spirit is very tactile. Like, you can move it, you can spread it, you can pick it up and pass it around. Sure. And say to the people, "Consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat, for you have wailed in the hearing of the Lord, saying, 'If only we had meat to eat. Surely it was better for us in Egypt.' Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. You shall eat not only 1 day, or 2 days, or 5 days, or 10 days, or 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you, because you have rejected the Lord who is among you and have wailed before him, saying, 'Why did we ever leave Egypt?'" Because they had the audacity to complain and they wanted to eat some damn meat. God's answer is, "Oh, I'll show you. I'm going to give you so much meat until it comes out of your nostrils and until you hate it. This is just like the parent who catches you smoking a cigarette and locks you in the closet and forces you to smoke the whole damn carton, which, by the way, is shitty freaking parenting. But this is your petty ass God. Yeah. Because they had the audacity to complain. He's like, oh, I'm going to give you meat. You're going to get the meat. You're going to get it. It's going to be coming out of your nostrils. It'll become loathsome to you. What a petty little bitch. But Moses said, the people I am with number 600,000 on foot, which, again, that was the men. And you say, I will give them meat that they may eat for a whole month. Are there enough flocks and herds to slaughter for them? Are there enough fish in the sea to catch for them? They're in the desert, but okay, whatever. The Lord said to Moses, is the Lord's power limited? Now you shall see whether my word will come true for you or not. So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and he gathered 70 of the elders of the people and placed them all around the tent. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him and took some of the spirit that was on him, scraped it off like peanut butter, and put it on the 70 elders. That's so weird. This is so silly. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied, but they did not do so again. This is so silly. 2 men remained in the camp, one named Eldad and the other named Medad. And the spirit rested on them. They were among those registered, but they had not gone out to the tent. So they prophesied in the camp. Like, got nothing else to do. I guess I'm just going to prophesy for a while. I think the Cowboys are going to win the NFL championship next year. That is my prophecy. And I think that, the stock market will be above 25,000 next year. That, who does, this makes no sense. And a young man ran and told Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. First of all, this sounds like the most pitiful form of entertainment, well, we got nothing else to do tonight. I guess Eldad's prophesying down in the middle of the camp. let's go hear him prophesy. and then some young man oh, Eldad's prophesying. What are we going to do? And Joshua, son of Nun, the assistant of Moses, one of his chosen men, said, my Lord Moses, stop them. Don't let them prophesy. Because the Bible reads prophecies. This is so stupid. Lord Moses, stop them. They're prophesying in the camp. What the hell, man? Does anyone read this? Has anyone else ever read this chapter? I might be the first person who's ever read this chapter, because otherwise there'd be no Christian church. Oh no, Moses, those guys are prophesying. What are we going to do? But Moses said to him, are you jealous for my sake? Would that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit on them. And Moses and the elders of Israel returned to the camp. Oh, gosh. Right after I get done with this video, I'm going to walk down to the quarter, and I'm just going to start prophesying. Because it's Saturday. I mean, what the hell? I might as well go do some prophecy, I prophesy this, and I prophesy that. And lo, I say unto you, gosh, does anyone read this shit? Oh, it gets worse. The quails. Then a wind went out from the Lord. No, he did not pass gas. Well, I don't know. Maybe he did. The Lord's like, excuse me. Then a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quails from the sea, and let them fall beside the camp, about a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, about 2 cubits deep on the ground. Imagine, I don't know, I think a cubit was a couple feet. like something short of a yard. So basically, they're saying like 4 feet, 3, 4, 5 feet of dead birds just stacked up everywhere. This, this is this is God being such a petty little bitch. He's like, I'll show you people. So the people worked all that day and night, and all the next day gathering the quails. The least anyone gathered was 10 homers, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was consumed, the anger of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord struck the people with a very great plague. I guess it was a quail plague or something. So that place was called Kibroth Hattaavah because there they buried the people who had the craving. How dare you have a craving? you wicked creatures from Kibroth Hattaavah, the people journeyed to Hazeroth. I wonder if Kibroth Hattaavah is Hebrew for a spiteful, petty little bitch of a god. So after he rains these dead birds on them just to teach them a lesson, then he's like, and now you get a plague, bitches. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There is nothing about this asshole of a God that even if I believed in him would make me want to worship him for a second. He's a petty, spiteful little bitch. Oh my gosh. This is your God. Yeah. Jesus, man. This is so gross. All of these books are so gross. Numbers 12. Aaron and Miriam jealous of Moses. While they were at Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, for he had indeed married a Cushite woman. Because you know what the Bible needs more of now? Some racism too. Let's put the racism in there. That's what we really need, because the rest of it wasn't gross enough. Let's make sure that everyone's racist too. Moses is married to a Cushite woman. That's horrible. And they said, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very humble, more so than anyone else on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, come out, you three, to the tent of meeting. So the three of them came out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent. I'm picturing this self-righteous cloud, like, damn you kids, like cloud-shaped dude, like, I thought I talked to you kids. But he came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forward, and he said, hear my words. When there are prophets among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly, not in riddles, and he beholds the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against him, and he departed. Oh no. Oh no. When the cloud went away from over the tent, Miriam's skin had become diseased, as white as snow. And Aaron turned toward Miriam and saw that she was diseased. This is mind-bogglingly disgusting. Then Aaron said to Moses, oh, my Lord, do not punish us for a sin that we have so foolishly committed. Yes, the sin of actually criticizing the leader. How dare you actually speak up and question the leader? Fall in line, you little bitch. Do not let her be like one stillborn, whose flesh is half consumed when it comes out of its mother's womb. And Moses cried to the Lord, saying, "Oh God, please heal her." But the Lord said to Moses, "If her father had but spit in her face, would she not bear her shame for 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp for 7 days, and after that she may be brought in again." Let me read this again. This is the Lord speaking to Moses. If her father had but spit in her face, would she not bear her shame for 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp for 7 days, and after that may be brought in again. This is God speaking. Your shitty, petty God. So Miriam was shut out of the camp for 7 days, and the people did not set out on the march until Miriam had been brought in again. After that, the people set out from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. Notice that Miriam was made leprous, at least for a short time, and was exiled from the camp for 7 days. What happened to Aaron? Oh, that's right, nothing. So the lesson here is crystal clear. If you are a man, God still might be pissed with you, but you're going to get off. But don't you dare have a vagina and have the nerve to question God or God's messenger or his prophet or whatever. Because if you have a vagina, you have no place to ask such questions. This passage starts very clearly by saying that it was Miriam and Aaron who spoke against Moses. They were both, now granted, they both spoke against Moses for racist, horrible reasons because Moses had a Cushite woman for a wife. How horrible. So that's gross. But putting that aside for a moment, the simple fact is it was Miriam and Aaron who spoke out against Moses. So who was punished? Who was exiled from the camp and whose skin had become diseased as white as snow? Was it Miriam and Aaron? No, it was just Miriam because Aaron doesn't have a vagina. So Aaron gets to question things and doesn't get put out of camp with leprosy for a week. Miriam, on the other hand, needs to shut the hell up and listen to God because how dare that woman actually question anything? This is your Christian God. Yay, Yahweh. What a guy. We're going now into Numbers 13. Spies sent into Canaan. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites." Giving is a funny word when there's other people living there, but okay. "From each of their ancestral tribes you shall send a man, every one a leader among them." So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the command of the Lord, all of them leading men among the Israelites. These were their names. I'm going to skip the names. It's Gadi, son of Susi, and from this tribe, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Okay. 12 dudes, all right? That's what you need to know. Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, "Go up there into the Negeb and go up into the hill country and see what the land is like and whether the people who live in it are weak, strong or weak, whether they are few or many, and whether the land they live in is good or bad, and whether the towns that they live in are unwalled or fortified, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not. Be bold and bring some of the fruit of the land." Now it was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob near Lebo Hamath. They went up into the Negeb and came to Hebron, and Ahiman, and Sheshai, and Talmai. The Anakites were there. Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came to the Wadi Eskal and cut down from there a branch with a single cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between two of them. They also brought some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Wadi Eskal because of the cluster that the Israelites cut down from the trees. The report of the spies. At the end of the 40 days, they returned from spying out the land, and they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the Israelites in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. And they reported to him and said, "We came to the land to which you sent us. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit." I do want to point out that these people have been wandering in the desert for years. So basically, any place that's not sand is a land of milk and honey to them, pretty much. But okay, fine. It's a land of milk and honey. Yet the people who live in the land are strong, and the towns are fortified and very large. And besides, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the land of the Negeb. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the sea and along the Jordan. But Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it." Then the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against this people, for they are stronger than we are." So they brought to the Israelites an unfavorable report of the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land that we have gone through as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great size. There we saw the Nephilim." Oh God, they're the Nephilim again. "The Anakites come from the Nephilim, and to ourselves we seemed like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them." I am kind of curious in this passage because the Nephilim are very mysterious, semi-bullshit, class of so-called people that were originally referenced in Genesis. Some people think of them as giants, although the text never says that. But here, I don't know if they mean like, did you really see giant people? Because clearly it starts by saying they gave him a false report. So I don't know if this is all just made up, or is it that, well, we're exaggerating, but there really were some of these big people. It's not clear to me how much of this is pure fabrication and how much of it is them just, reporting the bad things that they saw. I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to do Numbers 14. The people rebel. Oh, that never goes well. Then all the congregation raised a loud cry, and the people wept that night. And all the Israelites complained against Moses and Aaron. The whole congregation said to them, "Would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would that we had died in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will become plunder. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt?" So they said to one another, "Let us choose a captain and go back to Egypt." I mean, they have been in the desert for more than 2 freaking years at this point. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the Israelites. And Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes. Drama much? Like, no! And said to all the congregation of the Israelites, "The land that we went through as spies is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land that flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are no more than bread for us." The people of the land are no more than bread for us. I mean, I know this is figurative-ish, but it sounds like you're going to eat the people that you conquer. Like, they are bread for us? Who says that? I mean, did the Americans, as they were finally defeating the Nazis, say, like, these Nazis are bread for us? No one says that. That sounds like you're going to barbecue them. Like, what the hell? Their protection is removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. But the whole congregation threatened to stone them. I love that. After God has basically taught you this is what you do, you stone people. So then when they're trying to say, no, we're going to be able to take this land, they're like, we're going to stone you fools. Like, this is exactly what you have created. A nation of people who are hungry to stone other people. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. I'm sorry, but the term the glory of the Lord with no further explanation makes me giggle like Beavis and Butthead. Like, okay, what were we seeing when we said the glory of the Lord? Okay. The glory of the Lord. I don't know what appeared. You can draw some connections there. Maybe I should do a whole video channel, YouTube channel, just me in my glory. But the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people despise me? And how long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the signs that I have done among them? I will strike them with pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make you a nation greater and mightier than they. Wow. Just wow. Even if you are the ultimate apologist, you would be like, well, they were doubting God. God took them out of Egypt. I'm not saying they had a good life in Egypt. They were slaves. But he took them out of Egypt. He never said, I will bring you to the promised land if you don't complain ever. He never said, I will bring you to the promised land, but shut your damn mouth. He just said, I'm going to bring you to the promised land. I'm going to lead you out of here, and you're going to, take over the Canaanites and all this crap. Also, I will point out that he had a covenant going back to Abraham, that these were his people. The covenant was not conditional. The covenant was not, I will save them and make them flourish and everything as long as they never question me. That was never part of the deal. But here it is very clear he's tired of people having the damn nerve to actually question anything. And because of that, he's like, screw you, you will die in the desert. I will strike them with pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. Once again, we see that God's petty, bitch-ass little inclination is to say, screw this, I will just wipe everyone out and start over again. It's the same thing he did with Noah. So he's like, you know what? Moses, screw this. Screw them. I'm going to kill all of them. I'm going to give them pestilence, disinherit them, and I'll start over with you. That's your God. Yay, Yahweh. Absolute ass. Moses intercedes for the people. Once again, Moses has to be the adult in the room. Here we go. But Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear of it. For in your might you brought up this people from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land. They have heard that you, O Lord, are in the midst of this people. For you, O Lord, are seen face to face in your cloud. Once again, face to face, but people want to say that you can't see him. And your cloud stands over them, and you go in front of them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill this people as one, then the nations who have heard about you will say, it is because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land he swore to give them, that he has slaughtered them in the wilderness. And now, therefore, let the power of the Lord be great in the way that you promised when you spoke. It's so sad that Moses has to be the damn adult in the room, saying, "The Lord is slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love." Oh my God. Really? Forgiving iniquity and transgression, but by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the parents upon the children to the third and fourth generation. Which I love how it starts off with, he's loving God. He's slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love. Oh, but he'll punish third and fourth generation of children of generations for my sins, I guess. I love that it starts off, the Lord is slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love. Like, did he say this with a straight face? Forgive the iniquity of this people according to the greatness of your steadfast love, just as you have pardoned this people from Egypt even until now. Again, Moses is the adult in the room, not Yahweh. Then the Lord said, I do forgive, just as you have asked. Nevertheless, as I live and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of God, none of the people who have seen my glory and the signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have tested me these 10 times and have not obeyed my voice, shall see the land that I swore to give to their ancestors. None of those who despised me shall see it. But my servant, Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me wholeheartedly, I will bring into the land into which he went, and his descendants shall possess it. Now, since the Amalekites and the Canaanites live in the valleys, turn tomorrow and set for the wilderness by the way to the Red Sea. Let me be very, very, very clear. This is your crappy ass God absolutely breaking his vow. Okay? This whole thing about they have not obeyed my voice, and they shall not see the land that I swore to give to their ancestors. He says it himself. I swore to give to their ancestors. The people that he is hanging out to dry are those ancestors. He did not swear to give this land to these ancestors as long as they did X, Y, and Z. He did not give a list of conditions that said, well, as long as they do all these things, then I will give them this land. No, he swore to give this land to these people who are collectively the ancestors. And now he is throwing his godly little hissy fit because he's pissed off that he couldn't communicate what the hell they're doing, and he couldn't actually keep everyone abreast of actions. And even if he did, I mean, guess what? Out of 1 million people, some people are going to complain. I don't care if you're giving them ice cream and roses and back rubs every day. Somebody is going to complain. But because of basic human nature, you've decided, screw those people. You're not getting to the Holy Land. Screw you. It's only going to be your kids. That is absolutely breaking his vow, and he's an ass. This is a God that is a petty little bitch of a God and deserves no worship. Nothing. It is so disgusting. The fact that he just decided, I'm so tired of dealing with these people, the people that he brought out here, and he's had them in the desert for 2 freaking years. 2 years he had them in the desert. And he has the nerve to be annoyed that they're not happy, that they question him, that they question Moses. And in return for that, he says, screw you, you'll die in the desert. Only your kids will get to the promised land. That is an abdication of his vow, and he's an ass. An attempted invasion is repulsed. And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, how long shall this wicked congregation complain against me? I have heard the complaints of the Israelites, which they complain against me. And he's such a petulant, juvenile, whining little bitch. Oh gosh, about how they don't appreciate him. This is a God, an all-knowing, all-powerful God bitching that the little people down below complain. Have you ever heard the phrase, a lion does not concern himself with the opinions of sheep? Well, Yahweh absolutely concerns himself with the opinions of sheep. And he gets all up in his feels about it every damn day, apparently. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, I will do to you the very things I heard you say. Your dead bodies shall fall in this very wilderness, and of all your number included in the census from 20 years old and up who have complained against me, not one of you shall come into the land in which I swore to settle you. Let me say that again. Not one of you shall come into the land in which I swore to settle you. Again, he didn't swear to settle them conditionally. He swore to settle them there. And now he's going back on it because this little bitch ass doesn't like their attitude. Except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. But your little ones, who you said would become plunder, I will bring in, and they shall know the land that you have despised. But as for you, your dead bodies shall fall in this wilderness. Again, this is all because they had the horrible audacity to complain. He was never actually going to save them from Egypt unless they also spent the whole time verbally blowing him. And your children shall be shepherds in the wilderness for 40 years, and shall suffer for your faithlessness until the last of your dead bodies lies in the wilderness. Confirming again that he punishes the children for the sins of the parents. What an ass. According to the number of days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, for every day a year, you shall bear your iniquity, 40 years, and you shall know my displeasure. To be fair, I will mention it. When we were reading through Exodus, there's just like a throwaway line in Exodus that says they were in the desert for 40 years. There's no explanation for it in Exodus. Now we see why. He's like, oh, because they spied for 40 days and now he didn't like what became of it. Now you're going to spend 40 years out here, which is an explanation. It's also just more confirmation that this God is a petty little bitch, but it is an explanation. Okay. I, the Lord, have spoken. Surely I will do this to all. Surely I will do thus to all this wicked congregation gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall come to a full end, and there they shall die. What a horrible, petty, vindictive, childish little bitch of a God. And the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report about the land. The men who brought an unfavorable report about the land died by a plague before the Lord. Yeah, because you know what? God just loves him some plague. File a false report, die by a plague. Yeah, that seems equitable. False report, die by plague. Sure. That sounds like justice. But Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, alone remained alive of those men who went to spy out the land. When Moses told these words to all the Israelites, the people mourned greatly. They rose early in the morning and went up to the heights of the hill country, saying, "Here we are. We will go up to the place that the Lord has promised, for we have sinned." But Moses said, "Why do you continue to transgress the command of the Lord? That will not succeed. Do not go up, for the Lord is not with you. Do not let yourselves be struck down before your enemies." So I guess they should just sit there and accept their punishment. So your angry juvenile storm god will be happy? Is that better? For the Amalekites and the Canaanites will confront you there, and you shall fall by the sword, because you have turned back from following the Lord. Questioning is not turning back. This is the whole bullshit gambit of religion, that it's not enough to merely be part of it or to follow its dictates or to believe in its deity, but you have to do it all without question. How dare you question anything, you little crappy peon? Shut up and follow orders. That's what this comes down to. The Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the heights of the hill country, even though the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses had not left the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and defeated them, pursuing them as far as Hormah. That is the end of Numbers 14. I keep saying this, like, why the hell does anyone want to worship this little piece of shit? This is gross. This is not, it's not remotely an all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful God. It is a petty, spiteful little bitch. And I think people should be ashamed of this, to think that this is what you worship. You want to know why there's bad people in the world? Okay, that's not fair, but this religion does not help at all the fact that there's bad people in the world, because this is the seed of evil right here. There would be bad people anyway, I guess. You can be bad without being religious. But this is disgusting. After all this crap he's put them through, and he's left them in the desert for 2 years, and he's so pissed off that these people have the nerve to actually complain about anything. And that then his answer is, screw you, die in the desert. Which completely, absolutely destroys his vow. You cannot trust the word of this petty little bitch-ass God. He absolutely went against his own vow. It's disgusting. Thank you for joining us again on this episode of God Free Bible Study. In case I've gotten anything wrong, if I've made any mistakes, I would like to give Yahweh a chance to speak up and intercede and tell me what I've gotten wrong. Tell me if I've done anything that should be, or said anything that should be countered, corrected in any way. Okay, well, I guess Yahweh is in total agreement. Yahweh thinks this was a great episode and totally endorses this, clearly, because otherwise you can speak up at any time. No, okay. So Yahweh has endorsed this, and Yahweh also has proven himself to be a whiny little bitch. It's just disgusting, this story. This is nothing that you should teach to your kids. This is nothing you should teach anyone to actually worship. You should run from this. This is a culture of just toxicity. But I hope you join us again for another episode of God Free Bible Study. I am your boy, Adam of Nola. Please like, please subscribe, do all the things. And until next time, always stay skeptical.